It's true. I was never in my wildest dreams did I aspire to be named one of the women of weed, but I guess my kids were pretty excited about it. What I wanted to let you know is on the end of the table, there are little camera covers that you can put on your computer camera so the NSA can't watch you when you're doing whatever you do. And you just slide it over so that you can use your camera when you're on Zoom calls and things, but it's just a little layer of protection. And what I love about those is that my brand is right in front of your face when it's on your computer. So I have it there on my computer. I love it. So I'm Jamie Pearson. I'm the COO of BHANG Corporation, and we are, I want to see if I was supposed to tell you, you have to read these disclaimers. You know, I'll just leave them up there and let you all read them, and then especially the forward-looking statements. They get really, they don't want us to make any forward-looking statements. So this presentation that I have up here, I have in bound books. If you like my presentation and you want to take a book with you, I had some bound for you. Okay, so we'll get to the good stuff. So who is BHANG? What is BHANG? BHANG Corporation started with the vision of a master chocolatier, Scott Van Rixel, celebrated chef d'Oro, chef de cuisine, Michelin rated, James Beard awarded. He was chef to the Kennedys. And he's a master chocolatier, and he had a chocolate shop and a gelato shop in New Mexico. And he was putting his chocolate and his gelato all around the world, and was one of the first guys to import Venezuelan Creole cacao into the United States. And he sort of, I don't want to go out on a limb and say that he started the superfood dark chocolate movement, but when he started, there wasn't a whole aisle in the grocery store of dark chocolate. That's what one of the things he did, is he really put that 73% dark cacao. These chocolate bars are amazing. They've been in Whole Foods for 25 years. So he wasn't a stoner that decided to make a chocolate bar. He was a chocolatier that, through a long story that I'll spare you, decided it would be smart to put cannabis in chocolate. Our chocolate bars do not taste like cannabis. He figured out how to do it. They taste like chocolate. They're amazing. We started with that chocolate bar, and I know now you're all wishing you had one, and I wish I had them to give you, but the downside of federal illegalization, or whatever you want to call it, prohibition, is that we can't cross state lines with our chocolate. And in the state of Illinois, we're here, and our Illinois licensee is here with us. They're manufacturing our chocolate. He can't even give me samples because of the strict state rules. You have to be very sick, get a medical card, yada, yada, yada. So that was where we started. What we did is evolved from there, Scott knew that cannabis ultimately was going to be a CPG play. It is a consumer packaged goods. And at the end of the day, where we are right now is we've got a lot of consumers consuming cannabis throughout the United States, but we have no idea how big this is going to be. Human beings are altering their brain with alcohol every day. We know that cannabis makes people feel better. I have an alcohol exec on my team that says I've never had people come up to me when I was in the alcohol industry and say, your product has changed my life, and they meant for the better. So we're a CPG play, and we believe that the future of cannabis is shelf space. That's the commodity that's going to be in demand. We knew that starting off. So when Scott founded this company, he said, you know what, we need to look at this as CPG. We need to look at this as a brand play. We need to have great packaging. We need to have bar-to-bar testing. 10 years ago, before we put our first product on the shelf, we lab tested those bars. It was not required. We did it before a single product hit the shelf. We had Lloyd's of London product liability insurance, and cannabis was listed as an ingredient on our nutritional fact panels. We were the first ones to do that. Now, we've evolved. We started out licensing to gain footprint play, so now we're in 9 US states. We're soon to be in 10, maybe 11. I've got some deals working. We're always looking to expand our footprint because we want everybody to know the BHANG brand and to be able to taste and experience that amazing chocolate that allows you to dose accurately. That's the other thing we did first. You could take a BHANG bar, you could break it into a segment, and you knew exactly how many milligrams of THC you were consuming. We did that on day one. And we did that consistently. And it doesn't matter now if you buy your bar in Illinois or Michigan or Ohio or hopefully soon to be Florida if the state would get their act together. California, it doesn't matter where you buy a Bang bar. When you break those segments off, you know exactly how many milligrams of cannabis you're going to get. That was groundbreaking 10 years ago. Think about that. 10 years ago, there were brownies in Ziploc bags with Sharpies on them. And we came to the market with a nutritional fact panel. We won 8 High Times cannabis cups when they weren't paid. Is anyone from High Times in here? When they weren't pay to play. Now we don't enter them because they don't, it's just how big of a check do you write? We want to win the cups that matter. So we're out there winning awards with our products where it makes sense to enter the awards. We have 100 SKUs now across our whole portfolio. We're selling in over 1,500 stores, retail locations around the globe. We also have an e-commerce platform with our CBD products. And in 2018, $30 million worth of Bang products touched people's hands. So we have a 10-year history of putting CPG, cannabis and hemp-derived CBD products in people's hands. We've never had a recall. We've never had an insurance claim. We were food people that knew how to do this. So we're a company of firsts. So we're obviously the first national brand. We were one of the first ones to use that footprint play through a licensing model. We are non-plant touching. So we do not touch cannabis in the 9 states and soon to be 10 or 11. What we do is we find great operators that we want to work with because we also think it's really important that you like the people you're in bed with. And I have 2 of my operators here. I have my Illinois licensee, which we love these guys. They're good operators. They don't cut corners. They don't cut anything if they go above and beyond. We have our Canadian partners in here as well. Hi guys, and Indiva, and they are also amazing operators. I can boast that to my shareholders, I can say anybody we're doing business with, we vetted so that we know if I tell you something's going to happen and I'm relying on them to actually make it happen, that they're likely to get it done. With that said, I skipped over the part that we went public in July on the Canadian Securities Exchange, and we're also on the OTC under the stock symbol BHNG. So we're one of the most recognized CPG cannabis brands in the game. Our existing brand that started with that chocolate bar grew into an expansion of products. We started with THC. This always blows my mind. In 2011, 9 years ago, our CEO imported $1 million worth of CBD in from the UK. So think about 9 years ago, who was talking about CBD? Nobody. We made some gifts to the University of Kentucky. We made some gifts to legislators, to labs, because Scott has been a huge proponent of hemp and what hemp can do for the United States. So I can't, again, give him props for fathering the hemp movement that we're now in this huge explosion, but I think it's interesting that 9 years ago, he saw that future and brought CBD into the country. 4 years ago, he started talking about terpenes. Now we hear terpenes every day. 4 years ago, nobody was talking about terpenes. We have a line of terpene products. So that one flagship chocolate bar coupled with a gourmet chef. And I always tell people, this guy would put rhubarb foam on buffalo steak because he knows the textures and the flavors. It's all going to work together. He's that guy that when you want to go to his restaurant because you know whatever he's going to do is going to be amazing. That's how he does our products. He's the product development genius. And with that genius, I always think of Steve Jobs. With that genius comes some downsides, and that's what he's got me for. I do all of the relationships. He does all the products. So we have this expansive portfolio of trend-setting products. We've got a massive amount of intellectual property. We've got 100 and something URLs and trademarks. We trademark any brand that we put out into the world is trademarked. So we take care of business. At the end of the day, there's a lot of cannabis companies out there trying to do things on the cheap. I always say, write your divorce before you get married. If you have your paperwork straight, when you go into these deals, it makes things, easier, because when things don't go right, and invariably in any business deal, you're gonna hit a wrinkle. If you've thought it through ahead of time and put your paperwork together, it helps you collectively come together and solve problems. So we've also been really trend-setting in 10 years ago, being minded about business, knowing that CPG was the play, knowing that we were going to be fighting for shelf space. And now here we are, and everybody's talking about we're not going to invest in MSOs anymore. They're not sexy. They're hemorrhaging cash. We have this really light CapEx, OpEx model. We run lean and mean because our play here is to make, market, and move excellent products, and that's what we do. So we have this strong history of innovation and trust. Obviously not going off my slides. Compliant packaging. When we designed our packaging, it was with FDA requirements in mind. Obviously, we couldn't run them by the FDA when we had cannabis on the package, but we knew what the FDA requirements were, and we made sure that if at any moment Trump does something crazy and deschedules marijuana and we're ready to go live, we're ready to go live because our packaging is FDA compliant. We have full liability protection. We've always been doing lab testing. Right now, every product that has BHANG, that BHANG sells, if you go to BHANG CBD and you order anything, there's a QR code on it. It leads you directly to the third-party lab test. It isn't our lab test, it's their lab test. So you know what you're getting, and we've always done that. Standardized dosing and consumer-friendly production. So this is our leadership team. This is really where I think the magic happens. We know that people don't invest in companies or products, they invest in people. And the people that we have on our team are phenomenal. I have personally gone out into the world, my first job was to find a great recruiter. I found a great recruiter. I love this woman. She is, oh my God, she is a badass. And she puts my feet to the fire. She makes me give her details. She wants to know exactly what I want because she can't give me a good person unless I've described for her what I need. So I do all of my work with her, and then I sent her off into the world to find me people. And my number one requirement was they have to have emotional intelligence. I can't build a team of people if I've got a bunch of rock stars that can't work together. So emotional intelligence is that sort of it factor. And I got that. I have this team. It gives me goosebumps. I love these people. And it was instant. And that's what happens when you hire people that have emotional intelligence, when you work with people that have emotional intelligence, when you pick people that have emotional intelligence. That's what makes BHANG special is our team. Sam Collins right there, you can see her on the right. How many of you have heard of 19 Crimes Wine? A few of you. So 19 Crimes Wine, when Sam worked at Treasury Wine Estates, was the wine that was, it was Australian, and Australian wine was on the decline because wine goes, it's trendy. Sometimes we're drinking Merlot, sometimes it's Pinot. Australian wine had fallen out of favor. Treasury asked her to fix it. So she came up with this marketing campaign called 19 Crimes because there were 19 crimes that could get you banished to Australia, and I digress from BHANG, but I think this is important. And she created the Living Wine Label app. And her company thought it would be downloaded around 50,000 times. It's been downloaded 3 million times. It's artificial intelligence. You look through your phone at the wine label, and the criminal comes to life and tells you why they got banished to Australia. She is a rock star. I had to have her, and then we met, and it was like stars aligned, and I knew that I had my person, and she has done some groundbreaking stuff, which you're going to see here next. So we have 4 product verticals. We have THC products, then we jumped into hemp-derived CBD. We're developing and have launched some terpene products, and then we have a CBD brokerage, and this is what most people don't know about BHANG, is that in 2011, when we imported that first $1 million of CBD, we became, when CBD started picking up traction, we became the company that people called and they said, hey, do you got any distillate, you got any isolate? Well, we were buying it in bulk to make our products, and then we were selling whatever we didn't need at a profit. And that brokerage became a really robust part of our income stream. Now, the interesting thing is the bottom has fallen out of the CBD brokerage market because, now when I was, a year ago, I could get $6,000 a kilo, and now I think the price is around $2,500 if you're buying in bulk. And if you're paying more than that, you should come talk to me. Anyway, so those are our 4 verticals. Our business model is it was really started off of that flagship chocolate bar. And what we did is when I hired this team, I said, okay, the first thing we need to do as a team is figure out where is the industry headed? Where are some of those sweet spots? Because again, we do everything with the end in mind. We know that eventually cannabis is going to be legal in all 50 states and we're going to be able to have interstate commerce. So we wanted to have a really smart approach to how we were going to expand our brand footprint and our products and grab that shelf space. So where is it? Where do you think we need to go? And this is Scott's sweet spot, where he's kind of, we always say you run to where the ball's going, not to where the ball is. Or, the analogy he likes to use is Henry Ford is noted for saying, if I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said a faster horse. And Scott says you can't ask consumers what they want because they don't know what's possible. If you're an innovator, you have to innovate. And that's what we've done, is we've done some amazing innovations. So one of the products that I really like we can't keep it in stock. It is surprising all of us, but it looks like a cigarette and it's made out of hemp. And we call them pre-roll straights because you can't call them cigarettes because that becomes ATF. So they're pre-roll straights. They're 100% hemp. There's no nicotine. There's no tobacco. They have the spongy little filter. Scott infuses that filter with terpenes. Now, the way terpenes work, how many of you are familiar with terpenes? Most of you. So it activates a part of your brain. So I can put a cannabis-derived terpene in that filter. You can smoke the hemp. It has about 30 milligrams of CBD in each stick. Well, we didn't know. We thought it was cool. We thought people would want to smoke hemp, and we saw it as a play to be able to have interstate commerce because it all has less than the 0.3% THC, and we could sell them once the Farm Bill passed. The minute the Farm Bill passed, we were already in business. We had the cigarettes ready to go, and holy smokes, they sold out. And what we figured out was that people who smoke cigarettes love these things because when they're trying to quit, they get that tobacco craving, that nicotine craving. They smoke one of our CBD cigarettes. That nicotine craving's gone. They smoke one cigarette a day. We're not proposing that smoking is healthy, but man, if you can stop smoking nicotine, and then they sold out, and we're like, whoa, that happened way faster than we thought that was going to happen. So then we got our next order in. So part of what also happens when you're in this industry, it's a roller coaster because you don't know when you're going to run out of supply. You don't know when this product's going to catch fire, or you're going to have a dud, or there's going to be a vaping crisis, or you're going to get banking, you're not going to get banking. We had our credit card processing shut down overnight. Like crazy stuff happens. And when you have a good team, and when you have a team that reacts well to stress, which we have, when those things happen, man, we come together, we roll with it, we find solutions, and we keep pushing forward. So can't be more proud of my team. Pathway to growth. So as I said, we did product development. Scott and I took really a step back in 2017 and said, we can't put the genie back in the bottle. Here's what's happening. Cannabis is going to become legal. So what are we going to do about this? Where are we in the trajectory of the world? We realized that we thought, we got 5 years or so of runway to where we're here ahead of time. And I don't know how many of you have seen Tom Zuber of Zuber Lawler speak, but he always says the real opportunity in cannabis is right now because we're here before the end of prohibition. This is where the magic happens. And then I am watching Benzinga and all these really smart people tell us the opportunity is right now, really right now, because companies are cheap. Our stock's low right now, and we're scratching our heads because we're doing everything we're supposed to be doing. The industry is scared because of the vape crisis and because, everything that's happening, the big four hemorrhaging cash and all of that's happening. We're running on a low CapEx, OpEx model. We don't have greenhouses. We don't have retail stores. We've got a bunch of really smart executives marketing and moving our products, our branded products, and we're soaking up shelf space. So then we look at distribution expansion. Once the Farm Bill passed, it was really easy for us to start selling on the e-commerce platform that we had and now have again because we got our credit card processing back. But then what we also have is the access to tier 1 distributors. So these distributors, these big distributors now, everybody's talking CBD and they want to have it on their shelves. So these companies are coming to us and they're saying, okay, here's what we want. We want topicals, we want, we want your chocolate, but right now the FDA is dicey, and we're in talks with all of these companies. So what we decided to do was, we were in talks with a company called Red Ace, and you probably saw the press release that we acquired Red Ace Farms. It is a functional beverage company. They make a beet juice shot that's kind of like a 5-hour energy, and then they also make beet juice powder. So we acquired them because they already have distribution in Whole Foods and Sprouts and some of these tier 1 distributors. Sam and Scott did a product development piece, and we're coming out with a line of functional beverages, which is the new hot thing, and beets are the it thing. But now we also have this pathway to production. If I can get my make, market, and move, each one of those tiers really tightened up, and in the make part, I now have access to tier 1 manufacturing and tier 1 distribution. It makes the market and move part easy because I can give these companies like Costco the supply that they want. The new business verticals that we're doing, we've launched our terpene products, and we're constantly looking for new ways to expand our brand. So I'm in talks constantly with other companies about, for example, there's a company called Binsk you may have heard of. We are with True Leave in Florida. We have a licensing deal with Kim Rivers, and she owns something along the lines of 70% of that vertically integrated market. And we're the chocolate brand that when Florida has edibles, their kitchen's built, they're ready to put chocolate in packaging, and they're ready to put it on their shelves, and the chocolate that's going to be in the hands of Floridians will be BHANG. They also did a deal with Binsk, and Binsk also has a chocolate bar, but they didn't do the chocolate deal because we were the chocolate. They did a fruit leather deal. So Alex Pasternak from Binsk and I, we're homies. We sit down, we run into each other everywhere, Hall of Flowers, NCIA conference. We all, it's the usual suspects, I'm sure, for you guys too when you're out at these conferences. And so we sat down one day and he said, why don't we do a BHANG Binsk deal where everywhere you have a kitchen, we have a kitchen. I'm like, I like it. Let's talk about it. So we're in talks about that because why not? Why not? We don't have to do a deal. We don't have to merge. We can just agree that wherever we are, you are. Wherever you are, we are. That's what I love about this industry. That's what's different. I came out of real estate. I was a real estate investor for 25 years. And that was, everybody's fighting each other for the deals, and here everybody's looking to make the deals. And it's just amazing. I love this industry so much. And then strategic acquisitions. We've got a couple of strategic acquisitions in play, but we're only going to do them if they're accretive. I'm not just going to go look for a company that has top-line revenue. I want to make, market, and move products that help me soak up shelf space, and the companies that we acquire or that we look at have to help us in one of those three or all of those three verticals. And so we're in talks with companies that do that are going to give us access to better distribution or better production or better sales. So these are some of the brands that we've rolled out. 1914 is the cigarettes we were telling you about, BHANG CBD. Charlie Bravo Delta is our men's grooming line. Herb is another cigarette. Mota we have is a beverage line and a cigarette. Red Ace is that beet juice I was telling you about. Roast is our coffee product, and we did a deal with Oceana. It was an accretive, it wasn't an acquisition, but it was a merger type deal where they're creating our coffee and we're helping them with the technology. So we have CBD infused coffee beans and cold brew coffee that we're going to be able to sell once the production is done. And we did a deal with Cannabis Now, if you're familiar with that magazine. Eugenio, the owner of Cannabis Now, has a deal where he's putting 12 bricks and mortar CBD stores in strategic locations throughout the United States. He just opened his first one in Beverly Hills, and we are going to, oh, I'm out of time already, and I only got to slide 11. We have so much going on. Okay, I'm going to say one more thing, and then I'm going to wrap it up. This is our Clio Award-nominated new packaging that Sam came out with. I want you to see it. We're getting ready to roll that out in Q1 of 2020. Wow, those 20 minutes went really fast. We have so much more going on, you guys. Thank you so much.